Hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, I'm happy to have you. Today I'm making a video on the basics every player needs to know to start playing Scum and actually be successful. Scum can be and is a very in-depth game. This can range from having to manually load all your ammo, to a limited HUD, to if the rags you use for bandages are dirty, you'll get sick. But Scum doesn't have to be that. It doesn't need to be so complicated to hop in and play. There's also a sandbox mode renamed from single player previously, where you can change every setting in the game. You can give zombies no damage, or maximum damage, or the smallest loot multiplier, or the highest loot multiplier, and many other settings that allow the players to tailor the game to how they want to play it, and without risk of other players coming and causing trouble. There are also official and non-official servers that have different settings that could be increased loot, PvE only, and other things. The main things I wanted to cover that every new player needs to know before they hop into Scum are the things to craft immediately: first aid, enemies, weapons, stats, respawns, and understanding your health. I'll timestamp all the parts so you can skip around to exclude the parts of the video you may already know about. So for starting items, the first thing every player needs to know are the starting items you can craft immediately to set yourself up for success. The first thing you'll need to craft is a stone knife. Stone knives are crafted by approaching a pile of rocks on the ground and pressing the F key to search for rocks. You need 2 rocks to create a stone knife. Once you have the rocks, you can go to your crafting tab, you can go down to melee or hit the search bar and just type in stone knife. The next thing to craft is the improvised courier bag. You can do this by using the stone knife that you just made to cut some of your clothing into rags. I recommend cutting your undershirt, underwear, and socks into rags before anything else. Now you can go over to your crafting tab again, search for the improvised courier bag, and craft it. Make sure to stay near or save up the leftover strips and rags that you had, because you'll need them coming up. Now you want to go find a bush. With the stone knife in your hand, press F to cut down the bush. You should be given an assortment of small and long sticks. You can right click on all the small sticks and craft wooden arrows. You can do as many as you can hold, but I would recommend making 12, because that's the max stack limit per 1x3 grid in your pack. Now that you have your arrows, take your remaining rags and a long stick from the bush and craft a bow. And now you're set up with the starting items you will need to go out and scavenge and explore different areas to find better equipment and supplies. Lastly, many people recommend destroying your bank card you spawn with. In an online server, this prevents people from being able to kill you, steal your bank card, and have access to your money. You won't have any when you start, but you don't want someone running around with access to your in-game bank account. Next is first aid. The most common first aid item you will use and need are rags, but keep in mind the dirtier the rags, the higher the chance of you contracting an infection from them. I'm going to show you guys right now how to heal yourself after taking damage. So now I'm going to kill this guy, and I'm going to open up my health tab. You can see that the parts that I have damage on are red, and you can click on your bleeding injury and go over and click on your bandage, and then you'll start applying first aid. This will bring down the time that it needs to move into the stabilization period, and the higher medical skill you have, the quicker it will be. After stabilization, it goes into recovery. But if you're running around, fighting, jumping, anything else like that, it can cause stabilized wounds or close to being recovered wounds to degress backwards, and you'll have to keep applying first aid to them. There are primitive medical supplies like rags, but also medical grade ones such as bandages and tourniquets that are better at healing you and repairing any damage. Keep in mind you can also get status effects like limping if you take too much damage, and painkillers can take this away. Next up is enemies. There are many things in the world of Scum that are actively trying to kill you. The thing that you're going to run into the most are zombies, called puppets, NPCs, which are humans that have different levels of gear and weaponry that travel in groups, mechs and dropships, and even wildlife like bears. Zombies are the enemies you're going to run into the most. 1 is easy to handle, but once they start to outnumber you, the danger grows exponentially. Zombies come in different variations. There could be normal zombies, some are fast, some have body armor, and some are irradiated. Just touching them will give you radiation sickness. Zombies drop randomized loot and could be of varying categories and durability. They could also spawn what's called a horde. If your fight with one zombie causes too much noise and commotion, it can alert others in the area who will try and swarm you. NPCs are the second most interactive with enemy. They were recently added in the 1.0 patch. They're more rare than zombies, but are still very active, and you will run into them. They come with different levels and varying group sizes. Level 1 could be one guy with a wooden spear, no armor, nothing. Max level could be a whole group of fully kitted operators with the sole mission of one-tapping you. NPCs drop random loot, but do have the possibility of dropping their weapon or ammo. Mechs are what I would consider more of a specialized enemy. They aren't roaming the map, but instead guard specific POIs and areas like the military base, bunkers, armories. These things will cause instant lethal damage if they spot you. You can hide in bushes from them or use flares to distract them, but I would not recommend engaging them for a new player. I would do my best to hide, run, and use flares. However, flares will not work if the mech has spotted you first. Dropships are the least encountered enemy that I've found in Scum. I've only ever seen one, and it was at a totally random spot, but they will also kill you quickly. I just hid in a building and then did my best to escape afterward, and I recommend you do the same. Wildlife like bears and boars will attack you and are formidable, but they drop food and other items for loot, and these interactions normally happen in the forest. Next up is weapons. Scum has a wide array of weapons available, but you could break them into 3 categories for melee, ranged, and throwables. Melee weapons could be everything from a simple stick spear to a baseball bat to a katana. These weapons have durability and need to be repaired with grinding stones to keep them up at their maximum efficiency. Ranged weapons are bows, crossbows, and guns. Bows go from wooden to compound to crossbows. Crossbows and bows use different ammo. Bows can fire any arrow, and crossbows can fire any bolt, but the two are not interchangeable. Depending on which kind of bow or crossbow you have, they can have their poundage adjusted and attachments added. Keep in mind as well that if your strength stat is too low, you won't be able to pull back certain bows, and only certain ones can have their draw weight adjusted. Guns can be used at any time, but require the correct caliber of ammunition to be used. If the ammunition is low on durability, it can cause your weapon to jam and malfunction. If the weapon you have requires a mag, you can still fire it without one, but you have to load each individual round. And in any combat scenario in Scum, where you need more than one round, but you have no mag, and all you have other than that is your fists, put your dukes up. Guns have a range of attachments such as sights, suppressors, and magazines, and you have to preload your magazines with ammo and then load them into your weapon. So remember that before you set out. Next is stats. I'm not going to go too deep into this because it can kind of give you a headache. It can be, there's many different avenues that people go down and recommendations. But for me, the most important one is to just get a medium skill level in both running and endurance. As a new player, these are the skills you're going to be using the most, that are going to save you the most, and that are going to hinder you the most out of the gate. But just for general knowledge, stats in Scum, they level up just as you play the game by doing activities that pertain to those skills. So like driving increases your driving skill, running increases your running skill, fighting with your fist brings up your brawling skill. Next are respawns. When you die, you choose how you want to respawn based on how much money is in your bank account. You can either spawn at a random location anywhere on the map, pay to spawn in the same sector, or if you have the funds transferred into gold bars and a bed at your base, you can pay to respawn there. If you have no money, you can go negative up to $1,000. That's 4 random respawns before you have to make a new character. To Depositing money in the bank will decrease this amount and give you more room to respawn again if you don't have enough money. When you die, you will lose everything in your inventory. You can make it back to your body and get it back depending on how long it takes you to get back there and assuming another player hasn't taken it. Next is understanding health. In Scum, you have to eat, drink, and use the restrooms. You can go to your metabolism tab, see how hungry you are, see how thirsty you are. If your character goes too long without food, they start to starve, and it will affect stats. You can also see your water as well. If you're dehydrated or starving, you will start to pass out progressively more and more until you die. However, if you eat bad food, it will cause you to throw up and get sick. If you drink salt water, you will get the same effect. So good water from streams and wells, and don't eat spoiled food. Food and water can be found in towns, stores, gas stations, and vending machines, but also spawn naturally on farms and out in the world. You also have a colon and bladder meter. If you let these reach 100% for too long, you will go. Your character will go. And it's not going to be a good time. You can relieve yourself by holding tab and moving your mouse over to the pee or poop icon. So that's the absolute basics of what you need to know to hop into the game of Scum and have the best chance of surviving. It's a lot of information, but I didn't want to leave important things out. Scum is a great game, and the 1.0 patch is awesome and has brought in a lot of new players, and I hope you all have a great time and enjoyed the video. If you found it useful, please consider subscribing or liking the video. If I forgot anything or you have any recommendations or any other feedback, positive or negative, please let me know. Okay, bye!
Everyone's running away from me. And now, giant piles of gum? Oh, what next? The common stuff. Running down to